Rose Bennett found the locked room just after midnight, with a lantern shaking in her hand and Caleb Whitmore standing behind her in the dark. He was supposed to be blind, but somehow he knew exactly where the gun was pointed. "Rose," he whispered, his voice low and broken, "do not move. My brother is on the other side of that door." Then she heard the floorboard creak, and for the first time since marrying the blind rancher, Rose understood the truth. Caleb had not been hiding from the world. He had been hiding from his own blood. Before the story begins, leave a comment and tell me where you are listening from tonight. If you enjoy emotional old frontier stories like this one, like the video, subscribe to the channel and share your thoughts below. And if you have ever seen a family secret destroy good people, I would truly like to hear your experience. The train pulled into Miles City under a sky the color of old tin. Rose Bennett stepped down with one small carpetbag, one brown coat, and a letter folded so many times the edges had gone soft. Dust blew across the wooden platform. A horse screamed somewhere near the hitching post. Men in wide hats turned to look at her, then looked away when they saw she was alone. She held the letter tight. Mrs. Rose Bennett to be. That was what it said. Only she was not Rose Whitmore yet. Not in her heart, not in her bones. She had come because there was nowhere else to go. Back in Missouri, the widow she cared for had died. The widow's sons sold the house and gave Rose $2 for 4 years of work. Caleb Whitmore's proposal had arrived 1 week later through a marriage office in St. Louis. The letter had said he owned a ranch in Montana. It had not said he was blind. A tall man in a black coat waited beside a wagon. He had silver hair, clean gloves, and a face that looked too smooth for a hard country. "Miss Bennett?" he asked. "Yes, sir. I am Elias Whitmore, Caleb's brother." Rose gave a small nod. "I was told Caleb would meet me." Something in Elias's mouth twitched. Caleb does not come into town much anymore. Before Rose could ask why, she saw people near the saloon porch staring. One old man leaned close to another and muttered, "Poor girl don't know what she's walking into." Rose heard it. So did Elias. His smile tightened. "Pay no mind to town talk. Folks here drink more whiskey than truth." The ride to the Whitmore ranch was long and quiet. The land stretched wide and dry, with brown grass bending in the wind. Cattle moved behind split-rail fences. Far ahead, a large white ranch house stood against the hills, proud but lonely, with black shutters and a porch that wrapped around it like folded arms. Rose expected warmth. She found silence. A housekeeper opened the door. She was a stout woman with gray hair pinned tight and sad eyes. "Mrs. Pike," Elias said, "this is Miss Bennett." The old woman looked at Rose for 1 second too long. "Lord help you," she whispered. Elias turned sharp. "What was that?" Mrs. Pike lowered her eyes. "I said, 'Lord help me with supper.'" Rose knew that was not what she had said. Then a voice came from the parlor. "Send her back." Rose froze. The voice was deep, tired, and full of anger. Elias sighed. "Caleb, she came a long way. I did not ask for a nurse." Rose turned toward the parlor. A man sat in a wooden chair near the cold fireplace. He was broad-shouldered, with dark hair, a rough beard, and eyes that did not settle on anything. A pale scar ran near his temple. His right hand rested on a cane, but his left hand was curled shut, scarred across the knuckles like it had once been burned. This was Caleb Whitmore, her future husband. Rose swallowed. "Mr. Whitmore, I came because you wrote. I wrote because Elias kept waving papers under my hand until I signed one." Elias laughed softly. "My brother has a sharp tongue. You will get used to it." "I do not plan to stay long enough," Rose said before she could stop herself. The room went still. For the first time, Caleb's face changed. Not kindly, not softly, but with surprise. Elias stepped between them. "The wedding is tomorrow. The preacher has already been paid." Rose looked at Caleb. "Do you want this marriage?" Caleb turned his blind eyes toward her voice. "No." The words struck harder than she expected. Rose nodded, though her throat burned. "Then I suppose we are both trapped." Mrs. Pike showed her to a small room upstairs. The bed was clean. The window faced the barn. On the washstand sat a cracked blue bowl and a candle burned low. Rose sat on the mattress and pressed both hands to her face. She had crossed half the country to marry a man who hated her before knowing her name. That night, she could not sleep. Near midnight, a sound came from the hall. A slow scrape, then a whisper. Rose opened her door just enough to see Elias standing outside Caleb's room. He held a small brass key in his hand. Mrs. Pike appeared at the far end of the hall. "Leave him be," the old woman whispered. Elias's voice was calm but cold. "You forget your place, Alma. He's your brother." "No," Elias said. "He is my father's mistake." Rose's breath caught. Suddenly, from inside Caleb's room, his voice cut through the dark. "Touch that door, Elias, and I will break the hand you use." Elias smiled toward the closed door. "You always did hear too well for a helpless man." Then he turned and saw Rose watching. His smile disappeared, and Rose knew, before the wedding ever happened, that the danger in that house had already found her. By morning, Rose Bennett had already learned one hard truth about the Whitmore Ranch. The walls had ears. Servants lowered their voices when she passed. Cowboys stopped laughing when she stepped onto the porch. Mrs. Pike watched the staircase like she expected death to come walking down it with polished boots. The wedding happened in the front parlor, not in a church. The preacher stood near the fireplace with his Bible in one hand and his hat in the other. Elias Whitmore stood by the window, smiling like a man who had bought something at a fair price. Caleb stood beside Rose with his cane in his hand and his jaw locked tight. When the preacher asked if Caleb took Rose as his wife, Caleb waited too long. Then he said, "I do." Not warm, not loving, just two words thrown into the room like a stone. Rose said her part because turning back now meant sleeping in a train station with no money and no family. When the preacher closed the Bible, nobody clapped, nobody smiled. Mrs. Pike wiped one tear from her cheek, then quickly looked down. Elias stepped forward. "Well, brother, now you have a wife to guide you. Maybe the rest of us can breathe easier." Caleb's mouth tightened. "I have never needed your breath, Elias." A small silence followed. Rose felt it again. That sharp thing between the brothers. It was older than her. Older than Caleb's blindness. Maybe older than the ranch itself. After supper, Rose found Caleb alone in the barn. The sun was low, painting the hayloft gold. Horses shifted in their stalls. Caleb stood beside a black mare, brushing her coat with slow, careful strokes. Rose stopped in the doorway. He did not turn, but he said, "You walk soft. You hear too much." "I hear what people try to hide." Rose stepped closer. "Then you heard your brother last night." Caleb's hands stopped moving. For a moment, only the mare's breathing filled the barn. "You should not listen at doors," he said. "I was not listening. I was afraid." That made him turn his face toward her. "Afraid of me?" Rose looked at his scarred hand, then back at his face. "I do not know yet." Caleb gave a bitter smile. "That is honest, at least." She folded her arms. "Why does your brother have a key to your room?" "He has keys to everything in this house." "Even you?" The words left her mouth before she could soften them. Caleb's face hardened. Rose thought he would shout. Instead, he reached under his shirt and pulled out a small brass key tied to a leather cord. It was old and scratched, as if it had passed through fire. "There is one door he does not have the key to," Caleb said. "What door?" "The one my father died trying to keep shut." Rose's breath caught. Before she could ask more, a voice called from outside. "Caleb." Elias entered the barn with two ranch hands behind him. His clean coat looked strange among the dust and hay. "Sheriff Dawes is coming tomorrow," Elias said. "He wants to speak with you about the North Pasture deed." Caleb's grip tightened on the brush. "That deed belongs to me." Elias sighed, almost kindly. "Father left the ranch to the family, not to a blind man who cannot even sign his name straight." Rose looked at Caleb. His face went still, but his scarred left hand curled. Then something happened. A barn cat shot across the floor. One of the horses startled and kicked the stall gate loose. The heavy wooden gate swung hard toward Rose. She froze. Caleb moved before anyone else did. No cane, no stumbling. He crossed the space fast, grabbed Rose by the waist, and pulled her back, just as the gate slammed where her chest had been. Rose's hands landed against him. His heart was pounding. For 1 second, he held her like he was afraid she would disappear. Then he let go. The barn went silent. Elias stared at him. Rose stared too. Caleb reached down, found his cane, and forced his face empty again. "You see?" Elias said softly. "That is the trouble with my brother. Sometimes he forgets how helpless he is supposed to be." Caleb said nothing, but Rose saw his hand shaking. That night, Mrs. Pike came to Rose's room with a cup of warm milk. She closed the door behind her and whispered, "You saw him move today." Rose nodded slowly. "Is he truly blind?" Mrs. Pike looked toward the hallway before answering. "Yes. But blindness does not make a man weak. Fear does." "Fear of what?" The old woman's eyes filled with warning, of the same person who burned his eyes with lye and told the town it was an accident. Rose's stomach turned cold. Who did it? Mrs. Pike opened her mouth. Then a gunshot cracked outside. The window shattered. The cup fell from Mrs. Pike's hand and broke across the floor. Rose dropped low as another shot tore through the wall. Downstairs, Caleb shouted her name, and through the broken window, Rose saw a rider vanish into the dark, wearing Elias Whitmore's long black coat. Rose did not scream. She stayed low on the floor with broken glass around her hands, and Mrs. Pike trembling beside her. Downstairs, Caleb's boots hit the steps hard. "Rose! I am alive," she called. He reached the doorway without his cane. For one breath, he forgot to pretend. His blind eyes were fixed on nothing, but his whole body listened like a wolf in winter. He reached for Rose, found her arm and held it tight. "You must leave tonight," he said. Rose stared at him. "After someone shot into my room? That is why." Mrs. Pike rose slowly. Her face was pale. "Caleb, it is time." His jaw tightened. "No." "Yes," the old woman said. "Your wife has already been pulled into this. Hiding will not save her now." Rose looked between them. "Tell me the truth." Caleb stood quiet for a long moment. Then he pulled the brass key from under his shirt. "There is a room behind my father's study," he said. "My father locked it before he died. Elias has searched for this key for 6 years." Rose followed him through the dark hall. Mrs. Pike carried a lantern. The house felt different now. Not rich, not grand, just hollow. In the study, Caleb touched the wall beside a tall bookcase. His fingers found a hidden latch. The bookcase opened with a low groan. Behind it was a small room with dust, old ledgers, and a metal box. Caleb unlocked it. Inside lay a land deed, a burned letter, and a small bottle wrapped in cloth. Rose picked up the bottle. The label was stained, but one word remained clear: lie. Mrs. Pike covered her mouth. Caleb's voice was rough. "The town believes I was drunk and knocked over a lantern in the washroom. They say the lie spilled by accident. That was Elias's story." Rose looked at the burned letter. It was from Caleb's father. It said Caleb alone was to inherit the north pasture because Elias had been selling cattle and hiding the money. Rose felt the truth settle cold in her chest. "Elias blinded you for land." Caleb shook his head. "Elias planned it, but he did not pour it." A sound came from the study. The hammer of a pistol clicked. Sheriff Dawes stepped from the shadows, wearing Elias's black coat across his shoulders. "No," Caleb said softly. "You did." The sheriff smiled without warmth. "Your brother always was too soft to do hard work himself." Rose's heart pounded. Dawes pointed the gun at Caleb. "Give me the box." Rose looked at Caleb. Caleb could not see the gun, but he knew where it was. His hand moved slightly toward the desk. Dawes noticed. "Do not try it." Then Elias appeared behind the sheriff, breathing hard, his face gray. "Dawes," Elias whispered, "you said nobody would die tonight." Dawes laughed. "Men like you always want stolen land with clean hands." For the first time, Rose saw Elias as he truly was. Greedy, yes. Weak, yes. But frightened by the monster he had hired. Rose had one choice: run and live, or stay and trust a blind man everyone had called helpless. She kicked the lantern. Flame and oil splashed across the floor. Dawes turned in shock. Caleb moved at once. He struck the sheriff's wrist with his cane, and the pistol fired into the ceiling. Elias lunged forward, not bravely, but desperately, and knocked Dawes against the desk. Mrs. Pike screamed for the ranch hands. Within minutes, the house filled with men, smoke, and shouting. By dawn, Sheriff Dawes was tied to a porch post with his own gun belt. Elias sat on the steps with his head in his hands. He had lost the ranch, his name, and the brother he had betrayed. Caleb stood beside Rose as the sun rose over the pasture. "I told you to run," he said. Rose looked at his scarred hand and gently took it. "I have been running all my life," she said. "I am tired." Caleb's face broke in a way that was not weakness. It was pain finally finding air. "I cannot promise you an easy life." Rose looked toward the broken window, the dusty yard, and the wide Montana hills. "No," she said softly, "but you can promise me a true one." For the first time, Caleb smiled. Not much. Just enough for Rose to know the blind rancher had finally stopped hiding. And in that quiet morning, with the old brass key between their hands, the Whitmore Ranch no longer felt like a prison. It felt like a place where two wounded people might learn how to live again. The end.